Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the NFL trade deadline is going to be here before we know it, November 4th at 4 p.m. So what teams are going to be buyers? What teams are going to be sellers? Recent rumors swirling around are saying the Dolphins are not going to be sellers. We'll see what happens tonight when they're in action against the Ravens. But yeah, it's that time of year where teams really have to start thinking about what they're going to be doing come the trade deadline. Again, November 4th at 4 p.m. So let's welcome back our NFL analyst, Tyler Sullivan. Tyler, a lot of teams would love to have a star pass rusher in Trey Hendrickson, wouldn't they? And we know there's been some tension with him and the Bengals and his whole contract situation. So where realistically could you see him going at the trade deadline?
Yeah, there's a couple of different spots. And first and foremost, I think he gets moved because if you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they have yet to really commit to him. It's been a story going back a couple of years now in terms of him holding out for a contract extension, him getting a little bit of a sweetener this season, but no long-term situation has really been figured out between him and the Bengals. If they find themselves out of the playoff picture, it makes sense to move off of someone who you may lose in free agency. And I think if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, this is a player you go all in on. They already made a move yesterday to help their secondary. This team needs help at the pass rush spot. You just asked Brandon Graham to come out of retirement because you really haven't been able to have any presence in terms of pressuring the quarterback off the edge. This season, the Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher leading sack getter is Zadarius Smith with 1.5. Zadarius Smith is now retired. You need someone like Trey Hendrickson, especially a team like the Philadelphia Eagles who are firmly in a Super Bowl window trying to go back to back. This is someone who you say, all right, let it be damned if we sign him this offseason. He can help us right here, right now, and we're in a conference that is certainly winnable. The other one that I would look at is the Indianapolis Colts, simply because of the relationship that he has with defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who's the defensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Colts suddenly find themselves as the number one seed in the AFC. Literally no one saw this coming. And if you are Indy, this is a team that deserves someone to buy in on at the deadline. They deserve an acquisition like Trey Hendrickson. So the fit makes sense. The familiarity is there from the coaching staff perspective. And you add to that defense that would really help you come to playoffs.
Ooh, yeah, Trey Hendrickson there in Indy. It just feels like that might be just the piece that pushes them over the edge. I don't know how much they need because, to your point, they are the one seed in the AFC. And in our midseason awards, we were talking about, like, their coach, Jonathan Taylor, Danny Dimes, all the things, right? Let's go to wide receiver because there are a lot of wide receiver needy teams out there. We can talk about your Patriots, the Bills, even the Broncos could fall into that category. And we figure the Saints, with their record, they're going to be sellers, right? So what wideouts in NOLA could be on the move and where could they be going?
Yeah, I think both their starting wide receivers and Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are on the block. And now one maybe more than the other. Rashid Shaheed, I think, is probably more likely to be dealt. He is a free agent at the end of this season, as opposed to Chris Olave, who's under team control, under the club option through 2026. So it might take a little bit more. Obviously, Olave, a more talented player, a more, closer to a superstar wide receiver, if that's what you want to call it. So he will cost a lot. I think if you're a team like the Buffalo Bills, though, I think you certainly try to make this type of move happen. I would dangle a first-round pick in front of the New Orleans Saints and say, are you sure you really want to move off of or don't want to move off of a guy like Chris Olave? And if they say no, I think you can pivot to Rashid Shaheed because he is someone who can stretch the field. In Josh Allen, maybe one of his biggest strengths is his deep ball. He can throw it a country mile, but there's really no wide receiver on this roster that can really highlight that production. Josh Palmer was brought in to maybe be that deep threat, hasn't really materialized. This wide receiver room has not had a 100-yard receiver since week one in Keon Coleman. So you bring in someone like Shaheed, who's in the midst of a career year with Spencer Rattler throwing him the football. I think it'd be even more of a career year with Josh Allen. And the New England Patriots are another team. Obviously, they're in first place in the AFC East right now, just ahead of Buffalo. Their wide receiver room, I think on the outside looking in, you'd say, well, they have Stephon Diggs. Kayshon Boutte has really shown out this season. I don't know if they necessarily need a wide receiver in 2025. This is more of a long-term view. You have Drake May now, who's 23 years old. I think if you can get somebody like Chris Olave, who again is under team control for 2 years, that's a building block not just for 2025, but for beyond.
Yeah, and you know what? If you have a quarterback like Drake May, you of course got to be thinking about not only this year, but the one after, and then after that, and then after that, right? Tyler, we appreciate it. Trade Talk, that deadline, a reminder, coming November 4th at 4 p.m. All right, here's a look at the slate on Sunday for CBS. We have the, as mentioned, 1 seed in the AFC, Indianapolis Colts taking on the Steelers. And then at 4:25 Eastern, the 10th meeting between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen as the Chiefs and the Bills duke it out on CBS and also streaming on Paramount+.